Hello everyone, Tom with the Capo Fetish. Let's talk about some stellar demo album releases. I'm going to start off with one here that is a must for any album collection. Came out in 2012, was released on this little label called Rockingdale Records, and it is Carole King's The Legendary Demos album. So we get a lot of just Carole with a cappella voice, Carole and piano accompaniment. We have a very early draft here, A Pleasant Valley Sunday, which is just fantastic. The other day I was walking and on came her demo version of It's Too Late with just her on piano and vocal. It's so incredible. It's almost as good as the original version on Tapestry. Just really amazing stuff. We get other rough drafts here off the Tapestry album, the title track Tapestry, Way Over Yonder, beautiful. We've got You've Got a Friend ending the album. So we've got 13 demos on here that are just absolutely killer. The highlight for me, though, is her 1 minute and 48-second version of Crying in the Rain, which the Everly Brothers covered. That song, that melody, that twist of melody, just incredible stuff. So an absolute must here. Carole King's The Legendary Demos. It came out in 2012. Andy Partridge from XTC has released many demos over the years. These under the title of The Fuzzy Warbles. There are 8 volumes of these. These are 2 I picked up. These are 6 of the 8 volumes, 3 on each disc, or each package, should I say. This is 1 to 3, 4 to 6 right here. And what's amazing about these recordings is not only just the audio, the quality of the audio, but just the layers of instrumentation. I mean, Andy Partridge, just a brilliant songwriter, musician from XTC. And some of these versions actually, I think, outdo the album XTC versions. So you've got a ton of stuff that was never even released on XTC albums. Some of the highlights here on discs 1 through 3. Songs like I Brought Myself a Lyrebird, which is really cool. A song called Rocket. There's songs from the Dukes of Stratosphere period on here, demo versions, 25 O'Clock. What else do we have? Holly Up on Poppy, which would later appear on the Non-Such album. He even does a version of Strawberry Fields Forever. Here's the song list from the volumes 1 through 3. Just a shitload of songs, incredible performances. So if you're an XTC fan, definitely seek these out. Fuzzy Warbles. There's 8 volumes. These are this is volumes 1 through 3 on one package. Here's volumes 4 through 6 on another package. Here's some of the song titles. What do we hear on? I have on 4 to 6. We have just a ton of different tracks. Earn Enough for Us, great early version there that which would appear on Skylarking. Dear God, we've got Jacob's Ladder. A lot of stuff that was never released on XTC albums. Mermaid Smiled, great demo version. I mean, just a treasure trove here of fantastic Andy Partridge demos. So the Fuzzy Warbles, volumes 1 through 6. There's 8. I need to find the other 2 at some point, but good stuff if you're into XTC. Another one here, probably the first posthumous Prince release. It's Prince Piano and Microphone, 1983. This is a real gem here. Really great stuff. Home recordings. There's only 9 tracks. He does an incredible version of Joni Mitchell's A Case of You on here. An early draft of Purple Rain, 17 Days, Mary Don't You Weep, Strange Relationship, International Lover, Wednesday, Cold Coffee and Cocaine, and Why the Butterflies. Really cool stuff. And I think this is kind of how he ended his career. He was doing this kind of piano and microphone thing right before he passed, doing a small little intimate tour. But this is a must here. This really shows a real intimate side of Prince and really showcases his vocal prowess, if anything else. So Prince, Piano and Microphone, 1983. This came out around 2018, so around just a little after he passed. Really good stuff. Steely Dan. Now this has been released. These are demos released prior to the Steely Dan getting signed to ABC Records in the early 70s. These have been these are all over the map. These have been released in just various configurations throughout the years. There's like double disc CDs with different titles. This is the first one I bought though. And I think it's just fascinating, these early demos of Steely Dan before all the, you know, the production and, you know, all the studio wizardry and you know, the studio cats came into play. This is just Donald Fagen, Walter Becker at a piano, banging out some really, really rough drafts of songs that would become just absolute masterpieces. One that starts the album off is Berrytown off Pretzel Logic. It's just Donald Fagen and Walter Becker singing very raw. The very rough draft version of Berrytown, which is incredible. Other tracks on here that were never released on Steely Dan albums are really cool. Android Warehouse, More to Come, Ida Lee, the track Sun Mountain. There's a really early rough draft here of Caves of Altamira. Altamira, really, really cool. I mean, it's amazing what that song would become on The Royal Scam with all the embellishments. Just one of my favorite all-time Steely Dan tracks. You've got Parker's Band on here, really raw version of that. And just a lot of cool tracks that never ended up on a Steely Dan record. Take It Out on Me, The Seat's Been Taken, You Go Where I Go. You know, very, very raw, nothing like a Steely Dan album, but it's just fascinating, these real rough drafts before they went into the studio and created these just absolute sonic masterpieces. So Steely Dan, Sun Mountain, here's the track selection here. But you can find these in many, many configurations, released on very odd labels, indie labels and such. This was released on a label called Showcase back in 1984. This looks like an import. But if you're a Steely Dan fan, definitely pick up one of these in whatever configuration you can find it. It's really, really fascinating to hear these before these became what they became. And there's a lot of great tracks on here that were never even recorded and released as Steely Dan tracks on their 8 studio albums, their initial 8 studio albums. Steely Dan, Sun Mountain, great demo album. Here's one from Stephen Stills. This is a real gem. This came back, or was released back in 2007 on the Rhino imprint. It is called Stephen Stills Just Roll Tape, April 26, 1968. And these are demos of songs that would become legendary, especially Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. We get a real early rough draft of that, which is really cool. All the different parts, too, played separately. All the different variations and parts of that song. Got Wooden Ships, early version on here. Really great version of Helplessly Hoping. Other songs like So Begins the Task, Change Partners is on here. The Doctor Will See You Now. There's a bonus track on here called Treetop Flyer. And it really showcases what an amazing guitarist Stephen Stills was back in the day and a great songwriter. So if you're a big Stills fan, highly recommend this. Stephen Stills Just Roll Tape, April 26, 68. These were probably recorded right before Buffalo Springfield broke up, right between the ending of Buffalo Springfield and the formation of Crosby, Stills, and Nash. So he was writing and he was moving forward. Stephen Stills, Just Roll Tape. Another one too, got to mention, is the Byrds Pre-Flight. These are demos that were recorded in '64 before they were signed to Columbia Records. And I think these are just really fascinating to listen to. Some of these tracks, too, never showed up on any actual Byrds albums. One being You Showed Me, which the Turtles released in the late 60s and had a huge hit with. They slowed it down a little bit. But on here you have a version with Roger McGuinn and Gene Clark singing a little more faster, folky version of You Showed Me, which is really great. You have early versions, early drafts of Clark songs like She Has a Way. We have You Movin' by Gene Clark, which was never released on an actual Byrds album. Kind of sounds kind of Beatles-ish. The Airport song is really cool. McGuinn, Crosby co-write. Early version of You Won't Have to Cry, one of my favorites off Mr. Tambourine Man. I Knew I'd Want You, an early draft of Mr. Tambourine Man. It's just really cool. Boston, written by Gene Clark. Really cool stuff. Here's the inside. This was released on Together Records. I remember getting this probably I think it was either my first or second birthday. My mom bought this for me. I don't know where she got it. Perhaps JCPenney or Sears. I think it was a cutout. But great stuff here. Pre-Flight by the Byrds. All songs recorded in '64 prior to their getting signed to Columbia Records. Another one here, not really a demo album, but I must show it because it has some of the most amazing demos by Elvis Costello. This came out in 1992. This is Elvis Costello's 2.5 years box set released by Rykodisc. And I remember when this came out, I had to get it like immediately. So it has the first 3 Costello albums. It has My Aim Is True, This Year's Model, and Armed Forces. And what is cool about this set is that there's a ton of really amazing bonus demos at the end of each album. So after watching The Detectives, you get about another 11 or 12 demos here by Costello on My Aim Is True. And some of these tracks are just absolutely amazing. Radio Sweetheart would later appear on Taking Liberties, Stranger in the House. But then there's these tracks that are just absolutely incredible. One called Imagination is a Powerful Deceiver. Oh my God, that track is amazing. You get early renditions of Mystery Dance. There's a track called Cheap Reward, Jump Up, Wave a White Flag, Blame It on Kane, early version, and Poison Moon. These tracks right here are absolutely freaking incredible, these demos. Now, Ryko took over the Costello catalog years later, and they did their own versions of these particular kind of CDs. They would remaster the album again and then add even more demos that weren't on these initial Ryko releases. But I think these initial Ryko releases have the most amazing Costello demos. So highly recommended. And then you've got a few bonus tracks here on the This Year's Model DVD or CD as well. Radio, Big Tears, Crawling to the USA, Running Out of Angels, Green Shirt, and Big Boys are the bonus tracks on here, demos. And then you've got a few tracks here, bonus tracks from the Hollywood High School live show from '79, and a few other tracks that would end up on Taking Liberties. But I think the highlight here, if you could find this box set, I don't think it's that expensive anymore, 2.5 years. The highlight is getting this, even if you can find this by itself, this My Aim Is True disc with the bonus tracks. They are absolutely phenomenal. So that's another one there. Not really a demo album, but in fantastic demo bonus cuts from Costello. 2.5 years. I think I've seen this thing go for like $14 in used bins. So highly recommended. And then last but not least, we got to mention this one, the Beatles Esher demos. These were available for many years. This is the box set of the White Album. It came out in 2018. There's 6 discs on here. On the back is the Esher demos, disc 3 right here. There's 26 tracks recorded at George's house in 1968. Here's what the disc looks like inside. These are fantastic. These were available for years in the bootleg community. But now they have been officially cleaned up, included on the 2018 Super Deluxe box set of the White Album. And I think these are really fascinating. I love the version of Revolution. It has this real swingy kind of feel to it, almost like a campfire song. The early rendition of Dear Prudence is incredible, with Lennon's picking and his version of Your Blues. We got a version of even McCartney's Junk, which would appear on his first solo album here. We have a demo version. What's the New Mary Jane is on here. I mean, basically just about every cut from the White Album is on here, and cuts that never made the album, like Not Guilty, Harrison's track. Even Polythene Pam's on here, Child of Nature, which would become Jealous Guy. This is a must. Too bad they didn't release this by itself, so people could just pick up the single release of the Esher demos, but you have to buy the whole box set to get them, or you can find a bootleg. So anyway, another fantastic demo release here, the Esher demos from the Beatles from '68 for the White Album. Let me know of some more demo albums you have to recommend to me in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching. If you dig the content across the channel, press subscribe. It's absolutely free. We'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.